Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Elena, and on this channel I share with you my boots on the ground research into the pre-construction properties, mostly in beautiful Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I share with you tips and tricks that you can use if you are interested in purchasing investment, retirement, or vacation properties in Puerto Vallarta. In today's video, I will be addressing the questions, comments that I receive quite often, and those are, well, how do we know if this pre-construction property or if this development will actually complete? The Mexican pre-construction real estate has a very bad rep from the past that some pre-construction properties do not complete, and to be fair, yes, this was an issue back in the past. So today I will be answering your questions about that, and I will be sharing my tips on how you can best protect yourself if you're considering buying pre-sale in Puerto Vallarta.
A disclaimer before we begin is that this video is based on my experience and opinion only. This is not real estate advice or legal advice. Please ensure to hire realtors and lawyers to assist you with your real estate transaction.
And tip number one we are going to start with today is researching the developer. And in my videos, I only will show to you properties that I've researched lightly. I don't put extensive amount of hours into research for all of the properties that I film, but I do put in the roosters are killing me. I'm filming this video in our property, and it's located in Pueblo. I love it. I will show you this property. It's fantastic. This was a resale property we had purchased. I'll share that with you, but anyways, I just thought, I'll get away and I'll do some videos here, and it's just the roosters are nonstop. But anyways, forgive me for that. So to get back into it, I do research the properties that I share with you, and again, not super extensively, but I do put in some time to look into them, and I only share them because I am not 100% certain, never say 100 ever, but I do think they are the developers that will complete their work. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't do your own research. You should definitely hire your own realtors, your own attorneys. But my point here is that I do share the properties that in my consideration are the ones that will likely complete. Now, how do I do my research? Well, first things first, I go online and I pull up the name of the developer and the development. If there is an online presence, if I can find information online about them, what I'm specifically looking for is the developer's history. What have they built? Where have they built it at? And if it's readily available, and if you can pull up a list of, a number of developments that they've worked on in preferably Puerto Vallarta, but Guadalajara or any other part of Mexico, it will do. If it's online, then that is a very, very good sign. Now, there are some developments out there that I've seen quite often actually now, because as we know, the money's flowing and things are quite fluid at the moment, that I don't promote to you, and I don't consider great investments. And when I pull up the names, when I Google the names, or when I search the names, there is not a lot of information on it. There's not a lot of social media presence. There's no website. There's no information on what they have done in the past. Now, sometimes you can find the contractors that the developer is using, and that would be a bit of a question mark as well. If you can speak with a contractor, then that could put your mind at ease. But in my general experience, those would not be the properties that I would necessarily invest into, especially before they've broken the ground. Friends, I interrupt this video to share with you some very exciting news and ask for your support. I am working on a video course, or a guide, if you will, of how to purchase a investment, retirement, or vacation property in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The course is done from a buyer's perspective, someone who has gone through the experience twice in the last year. So I need to know if you would be interested in this course, if you would like to be on the list to purchase the course, and the first 100 people will receive a very special price. So please send me an email and let me know if that is something that you would be interested in, and my email address is provided in the description below. Thank you so much for your support. So tip number 2, and that kind of follows my previous point, does the developer have online presence? Do they have a great website? Do they talk about their previous projects? How much can you learn from what they offer online? Do they have a social media presence? What kind of interaction they have there? All of these pieces are extremely, extremely important, because sometimes you could find a developer who is newer, but they are determined and they are eager and they are backed. And you could find that information out from their social media presence, for example. But a red flag for me in my research would be very minimal presence online, not a lot of communication possibilities. So, for example, most of the developers here, whether established or not, will have a WhatsApp contact. So I've in the past sent messages to WhatsApp to some of the developers that are not known, and I received zero communication. So that is a red flag for sure, and that is definitely something to look out for. The next tip or thing to watch out for is, has the development broken the ground? And I've mentioned in one of my previous videos that the best prices are usually secured when development has not started. So it's not broken the ground, it's just released, and you've done all your research and you know the developer's in good standing, and that is the best time to invest because you'll get the best prices. But now, if you're not here in Puerto Vallarta, it's very difficult to find all of these opportunities. It's very difficult to find all of these developments. So if for whatever reason you've received that information from your trusted source, from your agent, then the most important piece about this is to ensure that the developer of this project is in good standing and that they've got all of their paperwork in line. Because what can happen, and it's happened in the past with some of my viewers reaching out to me with some of my research that, certain developments I was looking into. Everything looks great from the first glance. There is a site, there is marketing materials, there is a development, there's a developer, there's a sales team, and the development keeps being stalled and stalled and stalled. And that is likely because there are not all the permits in place. There's just bureaucratic issues that happen in Mexico. Mexico is very behind in terms of computerized titles and paperwork and what have you. And you know what? That's not the worst thing that can happen. I actually quite prefer it. But what that means is that it takes that extra time to file permits, to receive permissions, and to get the construction going. So if you are in a time crunch, if you are, looking for a specific date when you are purchasing a pre-construction, then maybe this is not the best way for you to go because a lot of things are quite delayed here. So figuring out and finding out all the facts and information prior to entering into the contract is super, super important because, as I just said, this happens quite often here. So that is definitely a really important thing to keep in mind. So here we have it, friends. My best tips on helping you determine if that pre-construction property you have your eye on will actually complete. Let me know, what did you think of the video? Thank you so much for watching until the very end. See you in the next video.